Yo, what's up world? It's your boy Shabu, your favorite movie buff. I checked out Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan's latest war movie, set in the 1940s, right in the midst of World War II. At this point in history, the Nazis have conquered most of Europe, forcing a lot of British troops, and when I mean a lot of, I mean about 300,000 plus, pushed out into northern France, waiting on the beach, waiting to be rescued and evacuated. Whenever I go into a Christopher Nolan movie, I usually have very high expectations because he's one of my favorite working directors. He is, after all, the director of the Dark Knight trilogy, which I am very proud of, one of my favorite trilogies ever, and also other really great gems like Inception, Memento, Prestige, and Interstellar. For me to properly give a review of this film, which I thought was very enjoyable, I have to really give you my review of it through two lenses. The first lens is a cinematic lens, how it looked and how it felt. The second lens is that of the storytelling lens, how it was written, how it was scripted, and how it was paced. Cinematically, this movie is spectacular, very visually appealing. It's not like a conventional war movie. There really aren't much long overhead shots of the battlefield or anything grandiose about it. The way the camera work is done, it's really right in your face, so it brings the audience right into the scene. So many visceral moments that are shot that really makes the audience feel like they're right there with the Spitfire pilot, right there with the Navy pilot, and right there on the beach about to fall off the ships that are trying to evacuate you and get you off before the Nazis start shooting you. Cinematically, I had almost no issues with this movie at all. It was very well shot and very well captured. Now, the second lens, the storytelling lens. This is where I had a couple of problems with this movie. There really aren't any characters you want to invest your time into or your emotions into. Most people going into a movie, myself included, want some kind of character or some kind of protagonist to cheer for or root for. This movie is essentially a movie about the battle. It doesn't focus on any backstories of any of these characters, which is fine. I thought that's perfectly fine with this kind of movie because Christopher Nolan doesn't want to make a typical Saving Private Ryan kind of story, which was a good character study, along with Full Metal Jacket, which was another classic war movie which has a lot of character study and a lot of character development. My main issue with the characterization is the editing. As soon as you're introduced to what you can consider the main character who's in the first shot, in the next scene you're introduced to another set of soldiers, and then you're introduced to another set of people that are on another pleasure ship that are trying to go back towards Dunkirk and save some soldiers. I really wanted to root for all of these characters because they're portrayed as characters who are very altruistic, who want to save as much lives as they can, but I didn't have that emotional appeal. In terms of storytelling, the editing was kind of all over the place, and that's kind of Christopher Nolan's gift and curse. Essentially, all of his other movies, I think, so far, his very complicated, heavily plotted and subplotted storylines that intertwine with many other storylines and many other character storylines actually work well for basically all of his movies. For Dunkirk, not so much because of the subject matter and the fact that, well, most audience members, we're used to rooting for the colonel or the lieutenant. I'm not expecting or didn't expect a Saving Private Ryan kind of storytelling format in which each character or each major character starts to have some downtime with the other soldiers and starts going off about their backstories. That's not what I expected because this movie is essentially about battle. It's a very in the moment kind of movie. However, I do think that the audience would have felt a little bit more motivated, or at least I would have felt a little bit more motivated to keep rooting for these characters and not get lost in the storyline if some characters had some more depth to them, which is, I think, the main gripe I have with this movie, guys. Overall, I think the fact that cinematically it was very appealing and it never had a dull moment because it was very fast-paced and there was always something happening. I could even argue that Christopher Nolan made this whole movie feel like one long battle sequence done in almost one take. In that aspect, cinematically and theatrically and visually, it was achieved on every level possible, guys, because it looked amazing, it felt amazing, and you felt like you were right in the water drowning with those people that were drowning. You felt like you were right in the air with Tom Hardy. However, I do think that the storyline with the characterizations and how some storylines were intertwined and how some didn't really flow that smoothly as he probably envisioned it to was what I think, faltered for the movie, guys. I'm gonna have to give Dunkirk a solid 8 out of 10, guys. What do you guys think of Dunkirk? Did you guys like the movie? Did you guys hate it? Where would you rank it among Christopher Nolan's other movies that he's made so far? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to Shabu the Entertainer for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.